Finally tonight, we want to take note of a milestone here at CBS News and in the history of American journalism. 50 years ago today, John Kennedy was in the White House, Barack Obama was in diapers, the future of Berlin was in the morning papers, and the future of CBS News moved into the anchor chair.
Good evening from CBS News headquarters in New York. Civil war threatens Algeria tonight.
Newspaper ads heralded the arrival of a new era at CBS. 45-year-old Walter Cronkite, who'd covered wars and political conventions, the Olympics and space shots, was about to become a daily presence in America's living rooms.
This is the evening edition of CBS News with Walter Cronkite.
It was 15 minutes at the time, totally inadequate amount of time to do news.
The new set featured a bank of black and white monitors. Variety, the showbiz magazine, called it visual razzmatazz. The technology was primitive by today's standards.
Paris is worried by developments in its one-time colonial capital, and Robert Kleiman reported from there earlier today by Telstar.
The government of President Charles de Gaulle.
Unfortunately, Cronkite's debut was not recorded. This edition, 4 months later, is the only known recording of the broadcast from that era.
More news in a moment after this word from Arawak.
Don Hewitt, who went on to create 60 Minutes, was the producer. But Cronkite took the title managing editor.
Everybody understood that Cronkite was the last word on what stories were handled and how they were handled.
Sandy Sokolow eventually became the executive producer of the CBS Evening News with Walter Cronkite, and he was there for that very first broadcast, which ended with Cronkite inviting viewers to get the details of the stories he'd reported in the next day's papers.
An explosion broke out among the suits and management who were very upset that Walter was sending people to read newspapers instead of coming to him for the news.
So Walter came up with an alternative sign-off, the one he would use for the next 19 years.
And that's the way it is.
And that's the way it was, April 16th, 1962.
Good night.
It's been nearly 3 years since we lost Walter Cronkite, but his legacy is part of every evening news broadcast.